Hi everybody, welcome back, and you are tuning into Two Divine Women. I'm one of your hosts, Shinai.
And I'm the other host, Naebella.
And we are here to talk about
some stuff. So, Shinai, I always ask this, how was your day?
It was alright.
She had a bad day.
It was alright. I'm going to tell you why my day was alright, okay? First of all, parents, please control your kids if you're out and about in life. Not saying that I hate kids, okay? But if your child is acting a fool, you can't expect me to be understanding. So this is what happened. I was sitting in my car eating a delicious donut. One of the best donuts I ever had in my life. And I see a little kid out of my peripheral getting out of the car with his mom and his dad.
Your peripheral works?
It works wonderful. It works better than my regular vision, actually. Okay. But saw a little kid. He was making a ruckus. I guess he wanted some donuts, and his dad said, we're only going to get a small amount of donuts. The little kid starts crying. Ah! This mofo starts hitting the side of my car like this, banging on the side of my car like he's trying to knock on a door. And I'm looking like...
You got the donuts.
I got the donuts, but still. Okay? I don't have the patience for bad behind kids. I look at his dad. His dad's like, hey, buddy, we don't knock on people's cars. What are you doing? Guess what his mom was doing? Guess what his mom was doing?
What was she doing?
Not a goddamn thing. Homegirl was walking away like it wasn't even her kid. I was mad about that.
Okay, yeah, I can understand how you didn't have
Had a problem. Control your kids, ladies and gentlemen. All because of your kids doesn't mean that everybody has a responsibility to be understanding. All right? How was your day?
It didn't involve kids.
Lucky you.
Oh my gosh, I had a pretty good day. I guess we have to offset each other, Cardi. So, so we're gonna get into today's topic. Do you wanna?
Are you married until you're single, or are you single until you're married?
Ooh.
Are you married until you're single?
Are you still single until married?
There we go. Are you single until you're married?
What do you think?
As a single woman, I feel like I struggle with this. When my whole thing is, if I'm dating somebody and we're looking to build with each other, I get in the mode of partnership. So I don't really hold back with doing what some people will call wifely duties, like cooking.
Okay.
And such like that. But I know a lot of people will say it's best to have the mentality that you are single until you're married in order to keep boundaries in line, because you never know how committed the person really is.
That's true.
What do you think?
I want to say I think you are single until you're married, but you can't have the mentality of being single. Ooh. If that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Right, because if you're going into a relationship and you're decided to be exclusive, if you still have the mentality that you're single, how are you going to build with this person? Because you still have that single mentality. It's like, oh, F that. If I want to do this, I can do this. And that's not, if you're planning on being with that person, you have to change that mindset, because now you're thinking for two. Now you're going to be doing things for two. So I think that you are single technically until you're married, but your mind state in that, your mind state in that phase has to go into going into a married mindset.
Right. It's similar to mine, because I feel like when you're dating, you date with a purpose.
Right.
So once you establish that you're interested in somebody and they're interested in you, and you both set the tone from the beginning, which is very important, communication, right. Then I think both of you, to me, should be genuine enough to act in a way that honors partnership. So if you're dating someone and you like that person, there's no need to play all these games and act like you're single when you're trying to build something with someone, because that could turn the other person off.
Exactamundo.
Yes.
You got it.
I got it.
You got it. Okay. So, do you know anybody who has that personality? Like you would see that trait?
Yeah. I do, actually.
No names. Okay.
No, he's too petty to name. But I was dating someone, God help me. I was dating someone who, when we started dating, we were establishing our boundaries, and he said, well, I'm the type of person who believes when you're single, and when you're married, you're married. Okay, cool. But what about when you're in between? You know, when you're in
There
the
is a
in-between?
definitely in between stage.
You're courting, you're dating. So I kind of was curious about that. And looking back, I can tell you that he acted like a single selfish person when he was dating me. And I guess it's because in his mind, unless there's a ring on my finger and there's a ring on your finger, I can do whatever I want. I don't think he was taking it to the extreme of seeing other people while we were together, but he didn't have the partnership mentality.
Right.
So he wasn't thinking for two. I was. He wasn't.
Okay.
And he felt I can, hang out with my friends all the time. I don't have to make as much time for you because you're not my wife. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. But I'm still a person who is investing in you, and I deserve to have someone who's invested in me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So what do you think about that?
Well, I think that both people need to have that conversation, so that way both parties know what they're walking into. Because if you go in and you're thinking one thing and he's in a totally different book, if you're thinking that one thing and then you get hurt because he's not doing what you're thinking, I mean, it's like you guys weren't on the same page to begin with.
Right.
So you get hurt and he's like, well, it is what it is. Or vice versa, whether it's a female, he gets hurt and she's like, it is what it is, because you guys didn't sit down and have that conversation and establish what you guys are looking for in this relationship.
That's if the person knows what they want. Because you have those people, and I would say with this individual, I was very clear. He didn't make it very clear on what he wanted. He didn't seem like he knew what he wanted at all. So that was problematic. You have to be ready. I think in either case, you have to be ready. Because if you're a single person and you are looking to date just to avoid being lonely, you have to be able to, like you said, communicate that. But here's the thing with me. So if you're single until you're married, or until there's a ring on your finger, and you get married to this person, you made it clear that you want to get married, you made it clear that you love this person, how does that translate into taking on the name of your partner? Do you feel like it's good to hyphenate your name? Do you feel like it's good to take on the name of your partner to really honor that boundary that you've now crossed over?
Good question. For me, I'm gonna say that I love that name, so I did not have any issues or any second thoughts in jumping that broom, so to speak. But it also depends. Let's say if I was the successful doctor, I would take that into consideration.
Gotcha.
Because this name has a brand on it. You know what I'm saying? So patients do know this name. So I mean, I may want to hyphenate it, or I may change it to my husband's name, but it also all depends. Some people, they had traumas with their family name, so they're more than ready to jump into their married name.
Right.
Some women, they feel like, I know for me, like I said, I jumped into it because I had no problems with it, and I remember putting on a Facebook post, yay, I'm now, I'm not gonna say my last name, I'm this person now, and my grandmother was like, oh, you're still gonna be this name, it's still a part of you, like that's still in your DNA. So some people don't want to change your name, or they want to hyphenate it because they feel like they're going to be losing a part of themselves. And if that's how you're thinking of it, don't, because that's still going to be a part of you. That's your DNA.
I think if I were a famous person, I would probably hyphenate my last name because I have a fan base, and I wouldn't want to throw them off and be like, guess what, y'all, I'm so-and-so now.
Yeah.
It would be a lot of work to have to update and change my last name from all of my branding. And I think when you're a brand, it's really complicated because your brand is your identity, just like your last name.
True.
So if you're like, okay, I want to honor my husband and I love my husband, but I want to take his last name, I think you almost have to rebrand yourself, because what does that last name mean? Now you're his wife. Right? You're not so much an independent brand anymore. So you have to either rebrand yourself or hyphenate it, which is what a lot of people do. Speaking of identity, I know a lot of people who are cohabitating. They're not choosing to get married, but they love their partner and they have pride in who they are in terms of maintaining their last name. They're like, I've always been this person and this is what this last name means to me. And if I change my last name, say they don't hyphenate their last name, they might feel like they have to embody more of their partner's characteristics. So do you feel like when people go from cohabitation to marriage, expectations change, and adopting their last name makes an expectation change even more?
I would say expectations do change because you're not that single person anymore. Now, like we said earlier, you are thinking for yourself and that person.
True.
Whenever you leave out of the house, you are representing your husband.
Right.
You're representing, even if your wife has your last name, you're representing her as well. So I would say that there are expectations that somebody who is married would have.
That makes sense. I do also feel like in some cases, the husband, once he marries his wife and she takes on his last name, I know some men who are very, very attached to what their last name means and what being a wife is. For example, I was dating somebody and I could have been married at a very young age. I am currently single, but I could have been married at a young age, and I know that I had no choice. I would have to take that person's last name. And with that, because I have adopted his last name, that means that I have to sacrifice a part of my identity. So he would have wanted me to go from an independent, career-focused, creative person to being what he wanted in a wife, which was staying at home, having a few kids, and until he feels like it's a good time for the kids to be more on their own, that's when I will be able to kind of go off and do my own thing.
That sounds like Fred and Wilma.
That's why I'm single right now, girl. No shade on people who are married, but I definitely enjoy my personhood. And it's not about me being selfish, or it's not about me going, you know what, I forget you, you're a man. It's not any of that. It's the fact that some people see certain titles like husband and wife as a new status, which means you have to conform to what they want. And that's a big thing for some people because, you have the cohabitation people who feel like they love the partnership, but then they get married and things change.
That is true.
And like with that last name and that namesake, you really have to know what it is that that person is expecting of you when you decide to take on that last name.
That's deep. Now, I did have this question. People, we asked earlier, are you single until married? Some people get married and they haven't let go of that single mentality. So they're married, but they're still thinking single. I'm gonna be honest. I did have to get help transitioning over into, it's us. I have to think for you and you think for me. It's been times where when you're single, you get in an argument. F this, I'm leaving.
Right.
You're married, you can't leave. You're gonna sit here. You're gonna sit here. We're gonna work this out. You married, go another room till you cool off, and then there's no, I'm leaving.
Right.
Because you decided to become one and commit to this. So I actually had trouble with that. It's like, okay, I'm leaving. I gotta deal with this, X, Y, and Z. And a lot of it is because it was a learned behavior for me. Like growing up, I didn't see married couples. I would see, and what married couples I did see, one would get mad and they're gone, and then a few days later they're back. So it's like, okay, that's normal for me. So I kind of grew into that, and I was, I had to learn like, no, Nay, that's not marriage. That's not correct.
Because you're a partner.
You're a partner, right? Those people were not doing it right.
Right.
So basically, and I thank my husband for that because I've actually grown with him in that. Because I was quick to say, I'm not doing this. But without the intention, I would say that, and I thinking I'm coming home a few days later. He's like, no, we staying here, we're doing this right now. You know what I mean? We're going to get through this because we made that commitment.
Right.
So, yeah, and I had to, but for me, I had to learn to get out of that because that's all I see.
Right. No, that's true. Definitely. What you see will definitely play into what you perceive as healthy in relationships. I know somebody who was married. He dated his wife, ex-wife now, for a year, right? He was very serious about her. But as soon as they got married, she started acting single. When they were dating and they were engaged, she was fine. But as soon as they were married, and I guess she got comfortable, she was acting single. She was going to the club. She was acting like she wasn't a very attentive wife. She wasn't into it. So I don't know what changes. But in that case, if you're married and you're acting single, there might be other relationship problems. So definitely look at that because you don't want that either.
Right. Well, we'll get back to that. Right now, we're going to take a break and we'll be back.
back, everybody. Now, before we get back into it, I just want to say these fabulous earrings right here are from our sponsors. Seafoam Sea Gifts, natural materials, black-owned business, creative design.
And they go real good with that lipstick, girl.
Thank you.
Can I have one earring? Because I read lipstick.
Just one?
too.
Just one? All right. Let me give it to you real quick.
No, I'm just playing.
For the people,
So,
look at this. It sparkles.
It
it's
is
shiny.
adorable.
It's fabulous. You're welcome.
So today's topic, the rose that we are using today is a rose. And that's because today's topic is about love, it's about romance, sexiness. So, yeah, that's basically about it. That's today's rose.
What color rose?
Oh, I said rose 4 times and didn't even say the color. It is a red rose. I mean, is a white rose about love?
I think it could be in a Puritan sense, but I think the red rose really embodies more of what we're talking about. We came with the red.
Rhetorical, though.
Rhetorical.
You were being real funny.
Red roses for romance.
Right.
Sounds about right.
I'm glad you agree.
I do, of course.
I picked the perfect color.
Perfect. Did you hear that, everybody? Perfect. That's what you're looking at right here.
Oh my God.
Front of me. Speaking of friends. Speaking of friends. Married friends, single friends. Is there a difference? Should they hang out together?
There is a difference, but there is a difference. They do hang out together, and I'm saying that speaking as a married woman. I still have single friends, and I still hang out with them.
That's me, everybody. Hi, I'm single.
Slide in her DMs.
I mean,
y'all.
don't slide in my DMs. Don't slide in her DMs either. She is a married woman.
Married.
Back off. I'm not married. I'm not married. Hello. Okay, so you're single friends.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
back.
We're having fun, guys.
Seriousness. Okay. So yes, I am married, and yes, I do still have single friends. It wasn't like I got married and they were all cut off. Because, for one, my husband, he's not the type of dude. You know, he's like, okay, you're with me, you can't have these type of friends, because back even before I got married to him, I would ask to go out. Well, not ask to go out, but I would say, hey, babe, I'm going out. And I would have that fear of, like, where you going? Who you going with? He's like, okay, cool. Like,
that's what's up.
And it was like, I'm not used to that. I wasn't used to that in my prior relationship. So he didn't have the mentality, okay, once we get married, I'm going to sever you from your single friends. And my single friends, they also knew that as well, that they had that respect for him to say, I'm not going to, try anything stupid.
Right.
So, yeah, I can still hang out with my single friends. It wasn't like, and I know people who haven't even got to the marriage and they're in a relationship and they had to cut off their friends.
The same person who was like, you're going to be my wife and you're going to change your life. He was always concerned with other friends that I had who were single, and he was under the impression that my single friends would try to like get between me and him. And I'm like, they're not even worried about you. Why do you think you're so important? Like, and I know as a single person, I have hung out with couples or married people. And as much as I was happy for them, I felt awkward because I was a third wheel. Like, and it's cool. Like, I'm not opposed to people showing their affection if they're in a relationship, but I'm just kind of like left out. It's a little awkward. So I know that sometimes single people can feel, if they're around married friends, maybe they might want a marriage, or because they see them doing so well, they get inspired, which I think is great. And I think it's great that if you're married, your significant other has enough trust in you to where they're like, oh, your single friends will rub up on you,
Right.
And obviously, if you're going to the club with your single friends, you respect your marriage, and you're like, hey, do you see this ring? Bye.
Right.
Boom,
As it
that's
should
it.
be. Yeah.
Of course.
Yep.
How long have you been married? If you don't remember?
I've been married in October. It would be 7 years, y'all.
Wow,
Lucky number
congratulations,
7.
boo-boo.
I appreciate it.
That's great. I hope you have many years together.
I appreciate
That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Don't slide in my DMs, y'all. Don't do it.
Hashtag. No, sorry.
Hashtag what?
Nothing. I didn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to touch on, Shinai?
I just think it's a beautiful thing. If you're single, be happy. You don't like
Live your best life.
relationships are not the end all be all to everything. Like there was a time where I was single and I was feeling lonely, and I'm like, why can't I find a partner to be in love with? And blah, blah, blah. It's cool. If you're single, love yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't need a man to define you, ladies and fellas. There's a lot of women out there. If you can't find one that loves you, it's cool. It's not the end of the world. If you're married, any advice?
If you're married, know that the road is not going to always be easy, And when you sign up to commit to that person, there is no walking away. I mean, of course, unless you get beat upside the head and kids, then okay, I think I need to check out. But if you're if it's petty arguments and what's the word? If it's petty arguments, you could actually, that's where you're supposed to grow. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that, and I'm still learning that. It's nay, you can't just get up and walk out. You have to stay. Look, like I said earlier in the episode, you are here to work this out for better or for worse. So now that we're at our for worse, now you're gonna leave. That's not what you said when you said I do. So I'm still walking in that journey, and I do thank God for giving me the partner that I have to help me through that, because I don't think I would have got, I don't think I would have been able to go through that with anybody else, if that makes sense.
Find your right person.
Right.
Find your right person. I think compatibility is a big thing, because for me, I'm where I am as a single person, I know that I can walk away whenever I want, and I take advantage of that. Homeboy has bad breath and he's broke, I'm out.
Any little reason.
If he has the extra ligament or if he has the extra finger, I'm not even going to date him in the first place. But you have that freedom when you're single, and I think people should take advantage of that. Don't be worried about getting into a relationship if homeboy is broke and he has no goals and he has baby mama drama. You don't need that, because that's going to take away from your joy.
Kind of I have a quick question before we end.
I might answer.
She's gonna answer.
Ooh.
What did you say? You said something about if he's broke. Can't you see the potential in that person?
When I say if he's broke, I'm not saying to only be with men who have money. I'm talking about a man who's not in a position to problem solve. So let's say he's unhappy, he's living from paycheck to paycheck, and he's fine with that. That's not enough.
Okay.
So I wanted to clarify, I am not a gold digger, anybody. Don't be thinking that. It's just you want somebody who has drive, and you want a man who, in my opinion, is going to be a problem solver. He's taking control of his life, because if you're around someone who's bringing you negativity, it's going to be a problem for you. So you want to look at everything, be honest with yourself as a single person, and know that being single is a good thing. It's fun. There's a lot of perks to it. That's why, I'm in the situation I'm in. I'm okay with that. And you have to be able to understand who your right person is. And sometimes it's just trial and error. There's no rush.
Point well said.
We dropped a lot of gems here.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we did. Definitely think we did. Anything else you want to say? Any books? Any resources?
There is this one book that I did read, and forgive me because I cannot think of the name right now, but we would definitely have it here for you. But the name of the book is called Daring Greatly, and it deals a lot with dealing with vulnerability.
Yeah, I think vulnerability is so important for relationships, whether you're single and in that courting phase or you're married, because it's like the little bridge to connection.
Very true.
So unless you can get into being vulnerable, where are you gonna go?
Very true.
It's a good book.
I agree. So that concludes today's episode. Stay tuned for next week. Until then, you can follow us on our social media platforms. That's what I said, y'all.
Don't edit it out. It's fine.
Social media platforms.
Good. And until then,
deuces.
Be blessed, y'all.